My dream home, built with my own money, was the combination of my old house and hard work. It was filled with my blood, sweat, and tears. I never imagined that it would be taken away by my in-laws, but I won't let that happen. I will do whatever it takes to stop them, even if it means putting my whole life on the line. My name is Abigail, and I got married at the age of 33. I never really thought about getting married, but when I saw others around me getting hitched, I started dating someone at the time. I figured it would be better to have someone by my side when I died. Looking back, that was a naive way of thinking. My husband's name is Alfred. We met at our group date when I was 30. I was working for a foreign company while Alfred was just a regular employee at a supermarket. Naturally, there was a huge salary difference between us. And Alfred's job was also very demanding. But we had no children and I had a decent income, so we never struggled to make it end meet. We understood and respected each other's work, and we enjoyed our lives together. Well, except for one thing. The biggest stress for me was dealing with the bullying from my mother-in-law and sister-in-law in my husband's family home in Gia. Both our houses were close by, so from the start of my marriage, I was frankly summoned to my in-laws' house on my day off. I could have refused, but as a newlywed and a daughter-in-law, it was difficult to turn them down. As soon as my husband and I arrived at the in-laws' house, my mother-in-law gave me orders. "Oh, you're finally here. Can you make some tea for us? And when you're done, please clean the second floor." As I was making a tea as instructed, my sister-in-law arrived and treated me like a housekeeper. "Oh, I will have some black tea. Can you buy some sweets at the convenience store?" Why am I doing this? They should just do themselves. At the very least, they should have unified the drinks. I was about to say that, but in the end, I followed what was told and headed to the convenience store. After all, they are my husband's family. I don't want to cause any trouble. Besides, going to my in-laws' house is only once or twice a month at most. As long as I obeyed their words at the time, there won't be any harm caused. For the time being, I was acting as I was told, but even I have finally reached my limit. One day, when I was summoned by my mother-in-law to go to their house, she spoke to me with a serious expression. "Abigail, can I talk to you for a moment?" At the time, a warning sound rang in my head. "There's no way, it's good news," I replied as a formality. "What's the matter?" As expected, my bad feeling was right on target. "Listen, Abigail, our living expenses are a bit tight this month. I need to borrow about $1,000. Can you help me out?" My mother-in-law peered into my face and said that. And she spoke as if it was a matter of course that I should lend her money. $1,000? No way! I flatly refused. "Mother-in-law, I'm sorry, but I can't lend you $1,000. I already gave you $500 last month, remember? Yes, last month I lent my mother-in-law $500, and it seems like she got a taste for it. But the $500 was for my husband's hospital bill, wasn't it? Mother-in-law made excuses, as if she was indignant. This month is for living expenses. We're really struggling. Please help us. My mother-in-law begged me with a sweet voice. Even with the $500 from last month, I never find out what my father-in-law's diagnosis was despite it being for his hospital bill. The hospital was an excuse, and it seemed like my mother-in-law and sister-in-law just wanted money to use as they pleased. I had a hunch that was the case. I couldn't give my mother-in-law any more money. Besides, our family isn't that well off either. We rely mostly on my salary, since my husband's salary isn't enough to live on. Come on, can't you just help out a bit since my mom is struggling? Remember how happy she was when she got her summer bonus. My mother-in-law's eyes lit up at the mention of the word bonus, and she turned to us. Abigail, did you get a bonus? And yet you refused to help me. For some reason, I was being blamed. Yeah, we did get a bonus, but we saved it all for our dream of owning our own home. Yes, I had a dream of one day building my own home, filled with all my personal touches. I had been my dream since I was a child. That's why I never splurged on luxuries and saved every penny of our bonuses. Just because we got a bonus doesn't mean I had a reason to help my mother-in-law. She continued to complain, but I kept refusing, and finally we left their house. On the way back in the car, I couldn't help but express my dissatisfaction to my husband. Hey, why am I the one who has to take all this flak? If you're short of money, why don't you ask your mom for help? Her husband let out a disgruntled sigh. You make more than me, don't you? Plus, you get bonuses. So why can't you help out a little? He sounded like I was the bad guy. But your mother said I'm living up her son. She thinks you make more money than I do, even though you don't. Isn't it weird for her to demand money from me? Who cares instead of whining about it? Why don't you just do what Mom said? My husband's irresponsible attitude made me really angry. I wanted to yell at him, but I held my tongue. Anyway, I'm not going to help anymore. Last month, I was lied to about your father's medical expenses. If you're worried, then you figure it out from now on. Abigail's husband clicked his tongue and fell silent. When it came to money issues, he was never able to stand up for himself due to his low-paying job. He didn't say anything more on the matter. After that, Abigail's mother-in-law started contacting her frankly with requests for money, always coming up with seemingly reasonable excuses like, "This month is really tough. Could you transfer $500? My husband might need to be hospitalized. Please transfer $1,000. Abigail was never willing to pay, but each time she refused. Her husband called her stingy and narrow-minded. She ignored all of it. She didn't want to waste any more of her savings on her mother-in-law's demands. Above all, She was close to reaching her goals of saving enough for a down payment on her dream house. Several months later, Abigail's dream of building her own home was finally coming true. Since it was her decision, she would be the one paying for everything, including the home's ownership. It had been a struggle until she started working at her current company, but all her hard work had paid off. At the moment, she deeply felt it. Before they started building, Abigail's husband had warned her, "I won't pay for it, you know." However, her low-income husband could not afford to help her anyway. Furthermore, his supermarket had been struggling for the past few months, and his salary had decreased as a result. Due to his low income, he had started refusing to even provide for their daily expenses. On the other hand, their home was almost completed after the construction company had finished its work. As Abigail thought about what kind of furniture to put in and how to arrange everything, she found herself enjoying her work despite it usually being a source of stress. Although she was often invited to her in-laws' home, Abigail would decline by saying she had a meeting with the construction company, and her husband started going there alone more often. Finally, Abigail's long-awaited dream home was completed. "I did it! I finally got my dream home, filled with everything I've ever wanted." They were scheduled to move in over the weekend. That was when her husband suddenly said, "Why don't we order some high-end sushi this weekend?" "High-end sushi? Why? Aren't you moving this weekend?" When I asked again, my husband just laughed incredulously. "My mother is coming to our new place. What are you supposed to do? Not offer her hospitality?" "Huh? Your mother? Why?" I hadn't heard anything about his mother visiting this weekend, and we certainly didn't have time to entertain guests during a move. As I expressed my confusion, my husband began to say something even more unbelievable. "It's not just for us, it's also a housewarming gift for my mom. We'll all be living together, so we should celebrate properly on the first day." "Huh? Living together? The new house is for my mom. We'll be her roommate, of course. What is this guy even talking about? I'm supposed to live with that mother-in-law in the house I pay for? This is no joke." In the moment, something inside of me snapped. I raised my voice and replied to my husband, "Don't be ridiculous. Who gave you the right to decide? This is our home, right? And I built it with all my money. I'll never allow cohabitation." My husband responded with defiance. "Huh? I'm the eldest son. You know, it's only natural for family members to live together." "What? You haven't contributed a single dollar, and yet you think it's your house just because you are the man of the house. I won't stand for it." I shouted at him, and my husband stood up straight. "Enough, calm down. Remember, you are the one who married into this family. Think carefully before you speak." He said this to me and then left the house. "Calm down, that's my line," I shouted after him as he headed for the door. Honestly, the fact that he left and the fact that we had a fight were both irrelevant to me. There was no way I would let those people occupy the house that I worked so hard to build. The next day, my husband returned home, and said the following with a grin. Have you reflected on your behavior? What I have to reflect on? Can you really say that? If you refuse to live together, I'll divorce you right away. Does it think this is a threat? My husband looked down on me, feeling triumphant. Got it? Think carefully about the position you're in. And with that, he left the house again. Isn't this actually a lucky situation? Moving day. We finished moving all of our belongings and started unpacking. Then the intercom buzzed. Hey, it's me. Open up already. My husband is yelling at the entrance. Through the monitor, I can see my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and even my father-in-law gathered there. May I ask who's there? I sound stiff, and it seems to have angered my husband. I said, it's me. Hurry up and open the door. The moving company's truck will be here soon. The moving company? But we're done moving all of our belongings. Are you sure you've got the right place? Stop messing around. He starts banging on the doors and windows. If you don't open up, I'm gonna break this window. I don't want to disturb the neighbors any further, so I called the police right away. Hello, my ex-husband and his family are causing a scene outside my home. Please come quickly. The police responded immediately, and a patrol car arrived within 5 minutes. My ex-husband and his family were arrested on the spot for breaking the window of my new home. As they were being taken away, I'm the owner of this house. We just had a little argument with my wife, my ex-husband shouted. Actually, the house is in my name and you are just my ex-husband, right? I confronted him with reality. Ex-husband? What are you talking about? We're not divorced, are we? What are you saying? I left in disbelief. You want a divorce, don't you? Let's do it. He must have never thought that I really wanted a divorce. My ex-husband was in shock and hung his head. In the end, he and his family were taken into custody for their disorderly conduct and property damage, and I made sure to claim the cost of the broken window. It's funny, they seem to think they could naturally move into my new home, having already cancelled the lease on the apartment they lived in until recently. Apparently, they were allowed to go home soon after being questioned by the police, but without any destination to go, they were left behind with the luggage they planned to bring to the new home. My ex-husband begged me, "Please, we have nowhere else to go. I won't say anything strange anymore just for now. Let us stay here." But as someone who had already divorced him, he was a stranger to me, and I declined his request politely. My ex-mother-in-law and ex-sister-in-law also heard various insults at me, saying things like, "What kind of person leaves their family in trouble?" But to me, there were no longer family. I refused all contact with my ex-husband and his family and cut off all ties. Currently, it seems that they are living a cramped life in a new apartment that they have just contracted for. They used to live on the money from my ex-father-in-law's early retirement pension, my ex-sister-in-law's part-time job, and money I had provided. Even with my ex-husband's low salary, they could barely make ends meet. It's just like karma to me. Meanwhile, I have decided to invite my parents to live with me in my spacious new home, and the three of us will live together. Oh, how lovely! Are you sure about this? You are even living with mom and dad. It's fine. It's too spacious for me to live alone anyway. It's my way of repaying my parents for the trouble I caused them during my divorce. Some people were surprised when they find out that I got divorced soon after building this house, thinking what a waste of a new home. But for me, being able to spend time with both of my parents in this house is the greatest happiness of all. If I had endured living with my ex-husband's family, I would have surely been treated like a servant every day, and my life would have been miserable. Compared to that, divorce is an easy thing. I'm glad I didn't sacrifice my own life for those people. From now on, I want to cherish each day for myself and for my parents.